The wind arrived before the sun. It moved across the white land like a living thing, pushing snow into long, slow waves. In the far north, beyond the last paved road, there was a small village that most maps forgot to name. A few wooden houses stood close together, as if they were afraid of the cold. Smoke rose from thin chimneys and vanished into a grey sky. This was a place where winter did not visit. Winter lived here. On this morning, the temperature had fallen far below freezing. Trees stood frozen in silence. The river nearby was locked under thick ice. Even sound seemed to move more slowly, wrapped in cold, and somewhere beyond the village, near the edge of the forest, something small was trying to stay alive. In the shadow of a fallen tree, half buried in snow, lay a wolf cub. It was no bigger than a house cat. Its fur, once thick and grey, was now wet and clumped with ice. One of its back legs was twisted at a painful angle. Every breath came out as a thin, shaking cloud. The cub did not cry. It did not have the strength. It only blinked slowly and pressed its body closer to the ground, trying to keep what little warmth it had left. No tracks of its mother were nearby. Maybe the pack had moved on. Maybe the storm had scattered them. Or maybe the cub had fallen and could not follow anymore. In places like this, being alone is often the end. Not far away in the village, an old woman named Anya was beginning her day. Anya had lived here all her life. Her back was bent and her hands were rough from years of work. She lived in a small wooden house with a stove, a table, and a window that looked toward the forest. Her husband had died many winters ago. Her children had moved to the city. Now, it was just her, the quiet, and the snow. Every morning, she followed the same routine. She boiled water, she fed the birds that came to her window, and she walked a short path behind her house to check her old storage shed. That morning, the wind was stronger than usual. It pushed against her coat and made her stop and lean on her stick. She was halfway to the shed when she noticed something strange, a dark shape near the tree line. At first, she thought it was just a shadow or a broken branch, but the shape moved. Just a little. Anya stood still. The forest had taught her to be careful. Wolves still lived in these lands. Bears, too. She listened. She watched. Then she saw the small head lift just for a moment before dropping back into the snow. "It's just a baby," she whispered. She walked closer, slowly, her boots sinking into the deep snow. When she reached the fallen tree, she saw the cub clearly. Its eyes were open, but dull. Its body was shaking, not from fear, but from cold and pain. Anya had seen many hard things in her life, but something about this small life, alone in so much white, made her chest feel tight. She took off her glove and touched the cub gently. It did not bite. It did not growl. It only tried to pull away and failed. The leg was injured, badly. "If I leave you," Anya said softly, "you won't see another night." She looked toward the forest. No sign of the pack. No sound but the wind. Carefully, she opened her coat and wrapped the cub inside, against her chest. It was light. Too light. She could feel its weak heartbeat through the fabric. The walk back to her house felt longer than usual. The wind fought her every step, but she did not stop. Inside, the house was warm. The stove was still hot from the morning fire. Anya laid the cub on a thick towel near the heat, but not too close. She brought water. She brought a little milk, warmed and diluted. At first, the cub did not move. Then slowly, it lifted its head and drank. Just a little. That was enough for Anya to smile. The next days were not easy. The cub slept most of the time. Anya cleaned its wound and tried to keep it warm. She spoke to it while she worked, not because she expected an answer, but because silence can feel heavy in a small house. Outside, the storm came and went. Snow piled against the walls. Nights were long and dark. Sometimes the cub cried in its sleep, a thin, broken sound. Anya would sit beside it and place a hand near its body, not touching, just letting it know it was not alone. She did not name it, not yet. The leg was the biggest worry. It was swollen and painful. Anya was not a doctor. There was no clinic nearby. The nearest town was many hours away, and the roads were not safe in winter. All she could do was clean the wound, keep it still, and hope. Days turned into a week. The cub began to eat more. Its eyes became brighter. It started to lift its head when Anya entered the room. Once, it even tried to stand. It failed and fell, but it tried. Anya laughed, a quiet, surprised sound. "You're stubborn," she said. "That's good." She made a small bed for it near the stove. She brought scraps of meat from her own meals. She changed the bandage every day. Outside, life went on. The village stayed quiet. Smoke rose from chimneys. The forest watched, as it always had. One morning, Anya opened the door to let in fresh air, and the cub followed her with its eyes. It tried to move toward the light. This time, it stood longer. The leg was still weak, but it was healing. Weeks passed. The cub grew stronger. Its fur became thick again. It started to explore the small room, sniffing at corners, tapping things with its nose. Sometimes it would sit by the window and look out at the forest, ears moving at sounds Anya could not hear. Anya understood what that meant. "You remember?" she said softly. She knew this could not last forever. A wolf belongs to the wild, not to a small wooden house. One clear morning, when the sky was pale blue and the wind was calm, Anya made a decision. She wrapped herself in her coat. She wrapped the cub in a blanket, even though it did not really need it anymore. Together they walked back toward the forest. The snow was bright. The world was quiet. At the edge of the trees, Anya stopped. She placed the cub gently on the ground. It stood. It took a few careful steps. Then a few more. It looked back at her. For a moment, neither moved. Then from deep in the forest a sound came. Low, long. A call carried by cold air. The cub's ears lifted. Its body became still. Another call answered. The cub turned toward the trees. It hesitated. Then it walked forward. Slowly at first, then faster. At the edge of the forest it stopped one last time. It did not come back, but it looked. Anya raised her hand, not to call it, not to stop it, just to say goodbye. The cub disappeared into the shadows of the trees. The forest closed around it. Anya stood there for a long time, listening. Then she turned and walked back to her small house. The village was the same. The snow was the same. The wind still moved across the land, but somewhere out there, a young wolf was alive. And in a quiet house at the edge of a forgotten village, an old woman made tea, sat by her window, and watched the forest with a small, gentle smile.